Good evening and welcome to the news. It's another Wednesday, another hour and a half of news, views, reviews, previews and interviews, targeting the extra details and the backstories to issues of the moment in Nigeria and abroad. We will be in key sports within the country as Nigerians tell their stories in a common quest for survival and development. Tonight, Kebbi flood update. 300 households displaced by unrelenting flood relocated to Shanga.
This is one among many rice fields affected by flood in Kebbi State that account for over 1,000 hectares of rice, and farmers in these areas are still counting their losses.
The recommendation of Honorable Justice Kudirat Moton Mori Olatokunbo Kekerekun is hereby confirmed as the Chief Justice of the Federation of Nigeria.
Senate confirms Justice Kudirat Kekerekun as Chief Justice of Nigeria. On education, federal government begins distribution of learning materials to pupils in Kano.
Thank you so much for this gift of uniform and books.
Plus, citizens set agenda for incoming administration in Edo State. On the day's business, we shall be tracking trade and development, while Badi Adeleye is on the sports for sports. As we see on this shift, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Yenri John, and this is News Extra. Welcome. Now let's hit the road, going straight to New York, where President Bola Tinubu has called on world leaders to deepen relations among member states of the United Nations in line with the principles of inclusivity, equality and cooperation represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima. The president made a call while addressing world leaders during the general debate of the ongoing 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly at the UN headquarters in New York, United States. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
This is the climax of the annual global event, countries giving their national statements, and it's the turn of Nigeria. Vice President Kashim Shettima standing in for President Bola Tinubu with a well-scripted national statement and a rich content focusing on contemporary global challenges and practical recommendations. First, Nigeria reminded the world leaders that the United Nations stands for inclusiveness anchored on the tripod of peace, sustainable development, and human rights.
Addressing the root causes of conflict is often the first step towards providing long-term solutions. Clearly, some of the root causes of conflict are social in nature, including poverty, hunger, ignorance, inequality and exclusion, as well as other forms of injustice.
Expressing worry about the main objectives of the United Nations and how it could sustain the global body's relevance and resilience, lamenting the return of unconstitutional changes of government in some African countries.
Conflict resolution is the main reason why the UN exists. But the task of prevention becomes all the more difficult when conflict becomes normalized, when even the condemnation of violence and civilian casualties and calls for a ceasefire are somehow regarded as controversial. As we emphasize at the Abuja high-level ministerial meeting, we must renew our focus on conflict prevention.
Calling for reforms in the international financial architecture and a transparent multilateral trading system, hoping the adoption of the Pact for the Future will change the narrative, asking the UN to prioritize debt forgiveness for Nigeria and other developing countries from creditors and multilateral financial institutions.
Climate change is a driver of insecurity, which also poses a veritable challenge to sustainable development. A few weeks ago, large areas of my country were inundated by seasonal flood waters, including one of our largest cities, Maiduguri in the northeast. Other parts of Nigeria also experienced similar tragedies, occasioning the loss of lives and property. We need not remind ourselves to remain faithful to the implementation of the commitments that we all gave voluntarily at the various COP meetings. Failure to do so is merely to postpone the inevitable. No country is immune from the effects of climate change.
Other world leaders at the session made statements aimed at addressing global concerns.
I stand before you in these whirlwinds, convinced of two overriding truths. First, the state of our world is unsustainable. We can't go on like this. And second, the challenges we face are solvable. But that requires us to make sure the mechanisms of international problem solving actually solve problems.
It is time to invest more in building trust and practicing dialogue. Constant dialogue is a powerful weapon for all governments have in their hands.
Today, the United States and Vietnam are partners and friends, and it's proof that even from the horrors of war, there's a way forward. Things can get better.
Nigeria's statement insisted on bold reforms in the United Nations Security Council with a view to giving Nigeria and other African countries permanent seats at the council. From New York, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has cautioned on the consequences of Africa's long-standing profile as a supplier of raw materials to countries of other continents. Extracting raw minerals in Africa, he said, has continued to keep the continent in a state of poverty, making it even more underdeveloped. The Nigerian leader made the observation while delivering keynote address during the African Minerals Strategy Group meeting on the sidelines of the ongoing 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York, United States. Represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima at the global event, the president highlighted urgent need for the continent to break free from this dependency, stating that the extraction of raw minerals without local processing only deepens Africa's underdevelopment and prolongs its economic challenges. The Nigerian leader called on African nations to adopt a new agenda that prioritizes local value addition, which he sees as essential to industrializing the continent and providing sustainable economic growth. Nigeria's Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, who also spoke at the event in his capacity as the chairman of the Africa Minerals Strategy Group, laid out the group's vision to transform Africa's mining industry through local value addition and industrialization. And staying with hunger, stakeholders across the globe are being encouraged to develop innovative approaches to fight both tuberculosis and antimicrobial resistance, AMR, in a strategic and integrated manner that targets prevention of new infections. Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, re-echoed this while speaking at an event organized by Stop TB Partnership on the margins of the 79th United Nations General Assembly in New York, United States of America. State House correspondent Adeniyi Taiwo has this.
As the global and national Stop TB champion, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu is expected to lend a voice and resources to the campaign in order to stop the spread of tuberculosis around the world. She is here on that duty as the Stop TB Partnership rallies stakeholders in New York in a renewed bid to break the resistance of the scourge. Her keynote address acknowledges that tuberculosis, with its drug-resistant nature, is a tough nut, which she ever believes is not beyond the will and resources of the world to crack.
We have the tools, the knowledge, and the expertise to end TB and AMR by 2030. Addressing TB and AMR together is not just the smart way, it is the best and only way. Our methods must include improving awareness, education on the dangers of drug-resistant TB, and promoting the appropriate use of antibiotics. We must also prioritize research in order to develop new tools, treatments, and new vaccines that can outpace the evolving threat of AMR.
In Nigeria, where the intervention of a pet project, the Renewed Hope initiative, has led to the procurement of 25 TB molecular diagnostics machines and reagents that can conduct over 15,000 tests, the race to change the tuberculosis narrative ahead of 2030 is on.
I'm also informed that this support has motivated the manufacturers and global distributors, together with their partners in Nigeria, to donate an additional 50 TB lamps to aid the country in the fight against tuberculosis. In addition, First Ladies of various states in Nigeria, who double as Stop TB champions, and I will be embarking on a nationwide TB advocacy to accelerate improved diagnosis and prompt treatment.
To fully move the needle on tuberculosis and AMR, the Executive Director, Stop TB Partnership, Lucica Ditio, harped on the need for strong collaboration, noting that the battle cannot be won in isolation. What is clear from the submission of Nigeria's First Lady and that of other speakers is that a multi-sectorial approach involving a lot of research and advocacy is required to achieve the objective of ending tuberculosis by 2030. And indeed, that is what Nigerians and the rest of the world are expecting in order to achieve a future where tuberculosis is no longer a threat. From New York, Adeniyi Taiwo, NTA News.
Many thanks, Adeniyi. Back home now, President Bola Tinubu has directed his ministers to embark on propagation of the activities of the administration, including the policies and programs aimed at transforming the country for the good of all. The presidential media team revealed this at the maiden periodic media briefing at the State House. State House correspondent Musbao Danwahab feeds us.
The Tinubu administration is over 15 months into its mandate. The 8-point renewed hope agenda of the government are gradually being translated from paper to reality. Campaign promises such as the student loan scheme, compressed natural gas CNG initiative are equally manifesting. But the administration is of the view that not so many Nigerians know about its transformative policies and programs already in the works. President Bola Tinubu is certainly not satisfied that not so much is heard about the effort of his administration. Hence, a marching order to the ministers to embark on a vigorous publicity going forward.
Some people feel the government is not doing anything, and government has been doing a lot. And he believes that it is up to them to go out there and blow their trumpets. They should not even wait for people to blow it for them. They should go out and talk about what their ministries have been doing.
The presidential advisor also enumerated some imminent executive bills coming to reform some critical aspects of the economy. These include the National Identity Management Commission's Amendment Bill, which seeks the inclusion of foreigners on its system.
If the National Assembly passes that bill, it provides that everybody living in Nigeria, foreigners, all of them will now be registered and be given NIN, especially once you are doing some work here and you are earning income, you will be registered and be given NIN so that you can be taxed. Your NIN will give you the kind of tax identity, and you can also be taxed. You come under our tax structure.
The government is also aiming to lay emphasis on the national currency as against dollarization of the nation's economy. This is to be done with some adjustments to the operating laws of NIMASA and the Nigeria Port Authority.
That all their fees, charges, levies, fines, and other monies accruing to them and payable to those agencies may now be paid in Naira at the applicable exchange rate. I think those agencies only were charging in dollars, but now they can always now collect it in Naira.
At this stage, may I ask if you have enough funding to disburse to the students who had applied?
For those wondering how the government intends to fund the student loan scheme, the presidential media team says that would be addressed with an amendment to the Third Fund Act.
30% of whatever Third Fund gets from the Federation account will now be passed on to NEL Fund. So that will provide a ready-made source of funding to NEL Fund.
The government is actually quite positive and happy that a lot of its programs are achieving desired results, especially in some sectors. For instance, agriculture expanded by 3.2%. We're seeing more enhanced local production. We're seeing a lot more exports. The same things with the telecommunications industry, which has expanded by about 9.1% because of new investments in both digital infrastructure. For instance, they're laying fiber optics across the country, and also, investments in new areas in technology. In addition, FDIs continue to rise. The foreign reserves are also rising.
And on the much-awaited cabinet reshuffle by the administration, the media team says that decision remains the prerogative of the president, who had from the outset hinted on reviews of the performances of his aides. From the State House, Musbah Wahab, NTA News.
All right, from the State House, we head to the National Assembly, where analyzing or passing judgment on cases that are sub judice on conventional and social media will henceforth not be tolerated. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, who earlier today got confirmed by the Senate, also told the legislators during the screening that she intends to deploy technology in Nigeria's judicial space for efficiency. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The nomination of Honorable Justice Kudirat Motor Mori Olatokunbo Kekereekun is hereby confirmed as the Chief Justice of the Federation of Nigeria.
The hit of the legislative gavel signifies the endorsement of the appointment of Nigeria's 23rd Chief Justice, Kudirat Kekereekun. The legislators during the screening asked questions on areas of public concern in the judiciary, among other alleged misconduct in the Temple of Justice.
Integrity in our judiciary is something that is important, sine qua non for the sustenance of our democracy. Enlarge the number of justices in the Supreme Court so that cases will be dispensed quickly. Conflicting judgments of court. My question, therefore, is what is your view about this menace?
My interpretation, not as a lawyer, as a politician, is that when you are talking of autonomy, independence, you must carry everything. It must all be inclusive.
Delay in administration of justice in Nigeria. Second issue is the issue of inefficiency.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, asked her to justify the confidence of President Tinubu in her capability by bringing justice to Nigerians.
Agency can discipline a senior lawyer who is fond of sitting down to analyze cases that are yet to be decided upon on television, in social media and all that. I think it will serve as a deterrent.
We will ensure that those who should be disciplined, those who are in the habit of doing, speaking on social media, condemning the judiciary, commenting on cases that are sub judice, will not have anywhere to hide. They will be dealt with decisively. I stand before you today with a pledge to do my best to uphold the integrity of the judiciary, to uphold the rule of law, to ensure that we defend the Constitution, and to work for the service and interest of all Nigerians.
Other features as plenary include first reading of 6 bills, among them the additional 2024 supplementary budget of the Federal Capital Territory, which also scaled second reading.
We need this infrastructure for ourselves and others who live in Abuja. So we should go ahead and pass this budget.
We all know we have youth residents in Nigeria, and I can see a provision of 10 billion for Youth Development Fund.
I urge the FCT to beef up its reserve for possible problems that may come up at a future point in time.
Abuja has become a place that everybody needs to see.
but it shouldn't be an island. So may we have all the states well connected to Abuja with good roads.
President of the Senate had, at the commencement of plenary, brought to the notice of legislators the request of President Tinubu for the confirmation of Professor Abdullahi Usman as the chairman of National Hajj Commission. Senator Ezenwa Oyewuchi's motion urging government to immortalize the late Chief Emmanuel Iwanyanwu was adopted. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA.
And still in the National Assembly, the security and well-being of Nigerians are top priorities for the House of Representatives as lawmakers commence legislative business for the second session of the 10th Assembly. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, in a resumption speech, commends President Tinubu for signing the counter-terrorism bill into law, but advocates greater executive legislature synergy to overcome internal security challenges. National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Igbe takes it up from here.
The resumption speech by the Speaker of the House usually sets the tone for the legislative business, and Speaker Tajuddin Abbas makes it clear that issues of security as well as electoral and economic reforms will be on the table.
We remain committed to enacting laws that will positively impact the lives of all Nigerians. The House will prioritize several key bills to address critical national issues across security, governance, and environmental protection.
The executive bill seeking approval of additional FCT supplementary budget of 288 billion naira for the 2024 fiscal year scaled second reading.
The FCT administration is trying to tell us something here. A lot of this will go into capital, and we are witnesses to the very bold steps being taken in the FCT.
Lawmakers expressed worry over recurrence of earth tremors in the nation's capital, calling for an investigation.
There appears to be no conclusive explanation for these occurrences. There is growing fear among the residents that these tremors could be a precursor to a more significant seismic event.
They also advocate a federal government intervention fund to address flood devastation in Borno State.
The people of Borno State, and I dare say neighboring states and neighboring countries, are at high risk of disease outbreak resulting from the flooding.
Meanwhile, the PDP and Labour Party caucuses in the House have expressed dissatisfaction with the outcome of the Edo governorship election.
Nigeria deserves a transparent electoral process devoid of any form of interference.
The lawmakers anticipate speedy passage of bills on electoral reforms. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Igbe, NTA News.
The U.S. mission in Nigeria has commended the people of Edo State for the widely peaceful conduct of gubernatorial elections on September 21st. Richard Mills Jr., U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, in a statement, reiterates calls for calm following the announcement of results. The U.S. envoy, however, expressed confidence in Governor Obaseki towards promoting peace and urged all stakeholders, including INEC, to support established electoral processes and respect legal procedures to challenge results. The United States reaffirmed its commitment to supporting free, fair, transparent and credible elections in Nigeria and will continue to monitor the situation closely. Meanwhile, education, health and security, top sectors that should receive immediate attention as people of Edo State set agenda for the incoming administration in the state to be led by Senator Mande Okpebholo, the governor-elect. Jude Abugu tells us more.
Edo State, which has 53.9% urban population and 46.1% of its population in rural areas, is made up of the Benis in the south, the Essas in the central, and the Aframites and Akoko Edos in the north. Though distinct in their locations, Edo people are considered homogeneous as their needs, values, and aspirations are similar.
So the administration is to consolidate what is on ground and equally inaugurate and initiate some projects for which this salvation will be memorialized.
This similarity reflects in their priority of needs as they set agenda for the governor-elect Monday Okporo.
We'll let him focus more on education.
For me, first of all, they have to pay attention in the security matters. Then another thing, they need to look into the area of transportation.
Some leaders of thoughts in the state say they expect that the new administration will show empathy in its policies and programs, considering the economic situation in the country.
Having had the idea of what they want to do, the challenges that are facing the society, yes, we are also conscious of the fact that money has to be made to be able to execute all of this. But it cannot be at the expense of the suffering Edo masses.
Monday Okporo campaigned with the mantra, "A new Edo is rising," and on November 12th, he will be sworn in as the 5th elected governor of Edo State. In Benin, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
Now, President Bola Tinubu has commended contributions of the Nigerian Institute of Management, NIM, in the nation's development, stating that their managerial expertise is vital in unlocking the full potential of resources and human capital that abound in the country. President Tinubu, who was represented by head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Didi Esther Wilson-Jacks, said this at the 2024 Annual National Management Conference of the Nigerian Institute of Management, Chartered. The president said the theme of the conference, economic stability and national security, the contending issues and the way forward, is relevant in national rebirth and aligns with the federal government's 8-point agenda. President Tinubu informed that his administration has, within the period, made appreciable strides in diversifying the economy with significant investments in some critical sectors such as agriculture, infrastructure, technology, and renewable energy. He called for collective action in achieving the desired economic stability and highlighted that government has adopted a multifaceted approach to confront security challenges, enhance intelligence capabilities, strengthen community policing, and equip security forces. The agenda of the conference includes food security, ending poverty, economic growth and job creation, access to capital, improving security, rule of law, and fighting corruption. Now, President Bola Tinubu has congratulated former Governor of Oyo State and former Senator Oba Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja as he clocks 80. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, informs that the President joins family, friends and the people of Ibadan land to celebrate the elder statesman who was elevated from Otun Olubadan of Ibadan land to a beaded crown wearing Oba by the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Owolabi Olakulehin, on August 12, 2024. President Tinubu greets the astute politician for his service to the nation and friendly support over the years as a praise for unceasing wisdom, sound health and strength. Let's head to the home of peace now. Are you one of those opposed to the idea of utilizing concrete technology in road construction in Nigeria? Then this report could be an eye-opener for you, because a similar technology used in the construction of a road that leads to the premises of NTA Maiduguri about 50 years ago is still leaving the test of time. Zainab Adams will take us through this.
A concrete paved way, also known as a concrete pavement, is a type of road or path surface made from concrete, a mixture of cement, water, iron rod and aggregate, such as sand or gravel. They are generally seen as an essential part of modern infrastructure, providing safe and durable surfaces for various modes of transportation and pedestrian use.
For me, I joined NTA Maiduguri in 1978. Even at that time, 1978, this road had been done, and it's a road that we have used since then. It's a road that had accommodated a lot of vehicles.
A normal tarred road cannot last long like this one could do. Because if you consider most of the roads that have been constructed 10 years back, they are no more what they were.
muna aiki nan lokacin da ba kaman kwaltan nan ba ruwa ne muna daga wandonmu.
Before this road was constructed, water used to disturb us. But since its construction, it has been helpful.
Ibrahim Mustafa Ngoshe is a Maiduguri-based civil engineer.
All ridge pavements, if it has been adhere to designs and requirements, minimum lasting lasts about 30 to 40 years or more. So because of its durability, strong, and weather resistance.
Concrete paved roads are not new in Nigeria, with the one from Obajana to Kaba in Kogi State, constructed by the Dangote Cement, being utilized day in, day out by haulage trucks, and of course, not forgetting the one leading to the Apapa port in Lagos. It will not be an exaggeration to say that the perfect condition of this concrete pavement that is about 300 meters length from the main gate of the Maiduguri Zonal Network Center of the Nigerian Television Authority, that's about 50 years old, tells a lot on what to expect in the ongoing Lagos to Calabar Coastal Highway being pursued vigorously by the federal government when eventually completed. In Maiduguri, Zainab Adam, NTA News.
From the home of peace, let's head to the glory of all lands as it is encouraging innovation in emerging technology as it holds the Maiden Robotics Challenge 2024, showcasing artificial intelligence skills among senior students from 12 model secondary schools across the state. The event is one of the lofty educational empowerment programs of the Education Development Trust Fund, EDTF, to harness budding robotics engineers and scientists in Bayelsa State. Ifoma Aikoje reports that the exercise highlights the innovative spirit of Bayelsans' young minds.
To equip her young minds with the requisite knowledge for relevance in this tech innovative era, the Bayelsa State government, through the Education Development Trust Fund, EDTF, launched a 4-month training program in May this year, deploying the power of technology through online classes. From Okubie in southern Niger to Brass Island in Ekeremo, EDTF engaged Odyssey Educational Foundation and the state mentors to midwife a tech generation, hence the Maiden Bayelsa Robotics Challenge.
The future belongs to science and technology.
It is to ensure that the coding and robotic training that we started since 2022 continues and is improved upon.
ICT, technovation, artificial intelligence, robotics are the core of our program.
The Bayelsa Robotics Challenge 2024 is indeed a spectacle to behold as students from model secondary schools across the state converge to demonstrate their artificial intelligence skills with projects deployed to solve problems in their local environments. The Bayelsa Robotics Challenge 2024 demonstrates the state's commitment to developing its human capital. As the winners bask in glory, the real victory lies in the skills acquired and the future leaders empowered. In Yanagua, Ifoma Aihuchi, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the federal government has introduced a series of policies and programs aimed at integrating modern educational frameworks into the existing system, including the Amaduri system of education. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, Abdullahi Tanko Yakasai, said this when he inaugurated the distribution of uniforms and learning materials at Rimi Primary School, Yakasai in Kano, under the President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda in education. Awul Salisu has the details.
Records reveal that more than 10 million children are out of school in Nigeria. This distribution of school uniforms, books and other learning materials is one out of the many policies introduced by the federal government to enhance school enrollment. Abdullahi Muhammad is among the 400 pupils at Rimi Primary School Yakasai in Kano that benefited from the gesture.
Thank you so much and for this gift of uniform and books.
Thank you so much for this gift.
Senior Special Assistant to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Community Engagement Northwest, Abdullahi Tanko Yakasai, says the initiative aims to support students from underprivileged backgrounds ensuring they have the necessary tools for effective learning.
The president is so worried about the lack of education of our teeming young ones. You can see all these children. We have given 400 of them uniforms. We have given 400 students. Each is taking 2 exercise books. We have started with primary school.
For pupils like Abdullahi, providing these essential resources will not only encourage attendance, but also improve overall academic performance. In Kano, Awwal Salisu, NTA News.
Nigeria is set to partner with Qatar in areas of research, student exchange programs, and sabbatical opportunities for Nigerian scholars. This collaboration aims at promoting academic excellence and foster cultural exchange between both nations. Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, speaking at the Qatar-Nigeria Educational Partnership Forum in Doha, reaffirms Nigeria's commitment to global academic partnerships. He states that this initiative aligns with Nigeria's broader vision of standardizing its education system, a key outcome of President Bola Tinubu's recent state visit to Qatar on the issue of out-of-school children in Nigeria. Qatar's Education Above All initiative will partner with the Kaduna State government to return 100,000 children to the classroom, with focus on girls and children with disabilities. This program will be expanded to other regions, thereby ensuring greater access to quality education for all. Now, picture a plane preparing for takeoff. It makes the usual sounds on the runway, but no matter how hard it tries, it cannot lift off. It might be short on fuel, or there could be mechanical issues preventing it from soaring. The human body works in much the same way. When one experiences persistent tiredness or dizzy spells, there could be signs of something more concerning, like anemia. And just like that plane, anemia can be linked to other underlying health conditions. In this special report, Uche Ugochukwu sheds light on anemia and how it can be properly managed.
Indeed, just like that plane struggling to take off, the patient battles to kickstart her daily routine. No matter how hard she tries, her body won't respond. Persistent feelings of tiredness or dizzy spells may signal something deeper, like anemia.
We're talking about anemia in respect of the age of the person and the sex of the person. Also, it has been found that the blood levels vary according to race as well. Anemia is a reduction in blood cell level. It could be due to problems with the blood primarily, or it could be due to problems elsewhere.
These common symptoms of anemia are often mistaken for just stress or other everyday issues by many, including Audu Izuabwe, leading to delays in diagnosis.
When I am tired, I take a rest. Like I was standing a while ago. For quite some time, I was getting tired and I had to sit down.
Hematologists stress the importance of early diagnosis, as symptoms can be early signs of more serious health conditions, including kidney disease or cancer. Once diagnosed, how can anemia be managed? Grace Duru shares her journey.
I bought blood tonic that is rich in iron, folic acid and B complex. Then I gave her vegetables. I gave her fruits that will help her blood to build.
It's not only nutrition, because people have a general idea that even though the commonest type of anemia is nutritional anemia, there are other things that cause anemia other than nutrition.
By staying informed and seeking medical advice, an individual can take control of his or her health. Just like expert advice, early detection and management are key. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Many thanks for the information, Uche. Now let's look away from health. About 300 households affected by flooding are set for relocation to higher ground in Shanga local government area of Kebbi State. This effort is part of collaboration between the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and the Kebbi State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, to mitigate the impact of flooding and ensure the safety of affected farmers. Correspondent Abdul Jalil Mohammed Bawa reports.
The local government area of Kebbi State is one of the areas predominantly populated by farmers who contribute significantly to the state's rice production. Unfortunately, the flood this year dealt them a devastating blow, with thousands of hectares of farmlands and approximately 2,900 households under the floods. About 300 out of these 2,900 households are in their need of shelter as they have been displaced from their communities.
All what we have planted has been destroyed. We don't have anything.
We don't have houses, no farmlands. We really need help.
Experts from the National Emergency Management Agency NEMA and Kebbi State Emergency Management Agency SEMA have conducted inspections of affected farmlands and homes in Tsamia Ruwa, in Shanga local government area. Their mission is to relocate the affected communities to safer areas and mitigate the impacts of the flooding.
Nobody is confiscating their land here. Two-home solution is what we are advocating.
After the rainy season, they will come back to their town, but whenever it is about rainy season, we'll take them back there. About relief materials, we are ready.
The team also assessed some match farmlands along the Jega-Koko route.
This is one among many rice fields affected by flood in Kebbi State that account for over 1,000 hectares of rice, and farmers in these areas are still counting their losses. In Shanga local government area of Kebbi State, Abdul Jalil Mohammed Bawa, NTA News.
How can man and the ecosystem survive without water? Is one question bugging stakeholders in the southeast part of the country, and therefore urging for an intensified effort towards the conservation of rivers, streams and other water sources in the region and the nation in general for the sustenance of biodiversity. Beatrice Ayam reports that this was at the global event to mark this year's World Rivers Day in Owerri, the Imo State capital. The report is here presented from our studio.
Is Otamiri River, one of the two major rivers in Owerri, which flows through the Federal University of Technology Owerri and its host communities. It has served the need of the inhabitants of the areas for decades, but presently the river seems to be gradually losing its relevance due to pollution and other unhealthy activities of man. This worrisome situation is part of reasons for the convergence of the Southeast stakeholders in Futo at the instance of the Anambra Imo River Basin Development Authority Owerri to chart a new roadmap towards curtailing the trend. Leveraging the sub-theme for this year's celebration in Nigeria, which is Protect Our Rivers from Pollution.
The river has been highly polluted, and that was why she was calling on the stakeholders to team up to further the course of the river.
The choice of the day could not have come at a better time than now.
It's essential to ensure that the long-term protection of our rivers and streams from pollution is assured.
With all this awareness being created, I think government and individuals will do the needful to ensure that our rivers are protected.
Tree planting as part of a healthy exercise to encourage behavioral change towards sustenance of rivers was symbolized at the Futo section of the Otamiri River.
Time for another break. Thank you for staying with us. We head to the Nature's Gift to the Nation, where the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation has organized a forum to sensitize people on the federal government's social intervention programs following the removal of petrol subsidy. The forum, held in Jalingo, is aimed at educating the public on the benefits of the subsidy removal and the various social interventions put in place by the federal government to cushion its impacts. Ado Adamu also has the details.
The forum, held at the Nurses House Event Center in Jalingo, aimed to educate the public on the benefits of the subsidy removal and the various social interventions put in place by the federal government to cushion the impacts.
All of the Mr. President's laudable program be brought directly to the people, allowing every Nigerian to access available resources from the federal government.
It is a design program of action with specific process targeting specific and strategic people so that they can benefit from the policies and programs of government.
Participants are happy with the forum, describing it as a major connecting point with the federal government.
When we go back, definitely we are going to discuss with our women, their children, the women should participate fully in this.
Intervention programs are going on without us, we the Muslim women inside, knowing that it exists. Until today that I've attended this program, that I know that the programs going on is a reality.
I think it's a very good initiative.
The Federal Ministry of Information and Orientation's effort to sensitize the public on the government's social interventions are highly commendable and is already bearing results in different areas. In Jalingo, Adua de Mwalso, in
Former Head of State Abdusalami Abubakar and erstwhile ECOWAS Commission President, as well as African Union Chief Mediator on Sudan, Mohammed Ibn Chambers, are among top dignitaries to grace the inaugural annual international lecture of the news agency of Nigeria, NAN. Managing Director of the agency, Ali Muhammad Ali, revealed in a statement that the duo will attend the lecture billed for 3rd October 2024. Chambers, a renowned diplomat and versed in security and conflict resolution, will speak on insecurity in the Sahel 2008 to 2024, dissecting Nigeria's challenges, genesis, impacts and options, while Abdusalam will chair the epochal forum. The agency says the lecture will hold at the Nigerian Army Resource Center, Abuja. Also invited are President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and members of the Federal Executive Council, top echelons of Nigeria's political establishments, and top brass of the military. Others, members of the diplomatic corps and academic community, media executives from local and African news agencies. The statement adds that the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammadu Saad Abubakar, Oni of Ife, Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi, and Oba of Onitsha, Nameka Alfred Achebe, are leading traditional rulers who have been invited. The lecture is part of the national efforts to enliven public discourse on the challenges of terrorism, banditry, kidnapping for ransom, militancy, and violent ultra-nationalism, among others, in the country. Now, more workers from the informal sector will soon begin to benefit from the Employees' Compensation Scheme of the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund, NSITF. Efforts being made to mainstream workers in the private sector formed part of discussions at the engagement forum between NSITF and Sevicom. Kenneth Nanim has all the details.
Juliet Onebuchi Friday is amongst the beneficiaries of the Employees' Compensation Scheme, having lost her husband in the line of duty in 2015.
They are helping. If it's not them, I could have packed my children to village because I have nobody that will help me.
To track other personnel in different workplaces who sustain injuries in the course of their work, for them to be adequately compensated, the Nigeria Social Investment Trust Fund is engaging Savicam to widen conversation on various aspects, especially to evaluate progress made so far with a view to improving on them.
We're also going to be focused on our internal stakeholders, our workers. What is their working environment? Are they motivated? Are they satisfied? All of those, I believe, will make us a better organization.
So Sevicom comes in to encourage them, comes in to ensure that the standards contained in the promises are developed. The claims, as they have said they will give to the people, is paid as at when due.
The engagement is also considering other options of improving service delivery, including bringing on board personnel in the private sector.
When there is an injury, death, occupational disease, or accident or disability in the course of work, such employee will be entitled to come and have some kind of compensation from NSITF.
The NSITF is optimistic that with adequate collaborations and engagements such as this, work safety environment will be well promoted for efficient service delivery. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
The challenge of access to finance by micro, small and medium enterprises may soon be a thing of the past, as speakers at the 5th annual lecture of the Development Bank of Nigeria are canvassing for the creation of a small and medium enterprises bank to cater their financial needs. The lecture, with the theme Empowering Nigerian MSMEs in a Challenging Global Landscape, is to scale the hurdles faced by micro, small and medium enterprises. Muplang Dakok reports.
A group of enterprises that undeniably are the backbone of economies are often overlooked. But the Development Bank of Nigeria is not only recognizing and appreciating the contributions of this important group, but has also brought together various stakeholders to discuss the well-being of this group, the micro, small, and medium enterprises. The consensus is for government to establish a small and medium enterprises bank to cater to the financial needs of the MSMEs.
We all must support the government's effort by working together creatively and implement innovative strategies to empower MSMEs and unlock their full potential. By establishing loan guarantee schemes, allocating funds for innovative startups, providing targeted tax breaks, and investing in essential infrastructure, we can create a conducive environment for MSMEs to grow and prosper.
And realize that the spur to create business and to do something about their personal circumstances was what set Nigeria apart. And I think Nigerian MSMEs deserve a round of applause for that.
It is a clarion call to all stakeholders to work together to ensure that Nigeria's MSMEs have the support they need to overcome challenges, seize opportunities, and contribute meaningfully to Nigeria's economic growth and development.
One of the collaborations that we'd like to see is to have private institutions, private financial institutions, shake hands with our small businesses by giving them access to cheap financing.
The DBN has so far disbursed 786 million naira loans to an estimated 500,000 MSMEs across the country and created 1.2 million jobs. In Abuja, Muplang Dakok, NTA News.
In other news, the National Directorate of Employment, NTA, is upskilling its strategies for the creation of more than 90,000 skilled jobs under the current administration. NTA Director General Silas Agara says about 30 skilled acquisition programs are already on for beneficiaries to key in. Joseph Otsen reports.
From all states and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, coordinators and zonal directors physically meet with their boss, the Director General, National Directorate of Employment, Silas Agara. The Directorate has an uphill task of ensuring one of the major 8 points agendas of the current administration, that is, creation of employment opportunities for millions of Nigerians, is achieved. And here they make input with a set target of creating more than 90,000 job opportunities in the next 3 years.
We are taking this project to the world level, the electoral world level, where we can have a minimum of 9 persons from each of the world.
You have to look at the current needs within the labor market, and you have to fashion strategies, you have to fashion skill sets that will effectively address the challenge of mass unemployment.
Not less than 30 skills acquisition programs tailored towards community wants are earmarked.
Programs related to entrepreneurship development is made available, agricultural sector, the new mechanisms in agriculture, digital skills that we are not doing before, like web and the rest, renewable energy.
The federal government says beneficiaries of the project will be uploaded on a developed database for onward tracking and monitoring for sustainability. In Abuja, Joseph Utsen, NTA News.
Meanwhile, creating a new culture that will help the nation confront corruption issues in a manner that will excite Nigerians should be the main objective. These are the words of the President and Chairman, Governing Council of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Dr. Ike Neliaku, at the inauguration of a 23-man committee of anti-corruption and consumers protection hub. Haman Jabani reports.
The hub, which comprises of members from Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Offences Commission, National Film and Video Censors Board, and Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, is to protect ethical practices, transparency, and consumer rights in Nigeria, to address corruption, protect consumers, and uphold public interest through public relations and communication strategies. Speaking on the need to change the perception of Nigerians in celebrating corrupt leaders, Dr. Ike Neliaku says the time to fight corruption from a different perspective is now.
To deal with the issue, to confront the issue of corruption in our nation and consumer protection rights. The Institute is saying that we can address this through an effective campaign.
The hub, which is committed to fostering an environment of attitudinal reorientation, ethical practice, transparency, and accountability, the other four partners agreed to raise awareness about corruption and consumers' rights through strategic communication, media campaign, and public relations initiatives.
And it's the destructive effect of corruption that we want the public to accept, that it's destroying our nation, and that we can collectively, as a people, rise up and say, look, no to corruption.
The NIPR Anti-Corruption and Consumer Protection Hub will operate for an initial period of 10 years, subject to renewal as partnership may determine. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
Thank you for remaining tuned. The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, has directed an unconditional and comprehensive investigation into the allegations of bribery and corruption within the Nigerian Correctional Service. A statement by the minister condemns the alleged reprehensible behavior, emphasizing that any form of indiscipline, unprofessionalism, and corruption will be met with zero tolerance and severe consequences within the paramilitary services under the ministry's purview. Tunji-Ojo directs that a special investigative team headed by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Interior, Dr. Magdalene Ajani, should probe these allegations and submit a comprehensive report of which disciplinary actions will be taken against any personnel found guilty. 40 years after enlisting as cadets, members of the 36th regular course of the Nigerian Defense Academy have reunited to mark and honor their legacy by being their brother's keeper. In this case, military widows of their fallen counterparts. Defense correspondent Najato Tijani reports.
Veterans, once unified in defense of Nigeria, now rally to support widows of their fallen counterparts.
To show you that we love you, we remember you, and we can see you.
Joyfully picking up their bags of rice provided by the veterans and angels and other provisions, members of 36 regular corps say NDA instilled this sense of duty in them.
Precisely 24th of September 1984, 205 of us resumed in NDA for cadet training. There's no better way of appreciating God than giving to the needy. It's a very important aspect of life, particularly at this time when people are going through very excruciating economic difficulties. So we felt even from our little retirement pensions and benefits, we should take out something and then share with the needy.
For Ifoma, Amina and their counterparts, this sense of duty has brought much needed relief.
Most of us, they have a cup of rice before coming here. So this intervention will really go a long way.
It's a very good gesture. And we pray that this they have done will not go unrewarded.
It is a well-accomplished mission for the givers and beneficiaries. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
Similarly, the Nigeria Police Force has presented checks to 2,200 beneficiaries of various insurance and welfare schemes for the assist police officers. Francis Afom reports that the presentation was part of ongoing efforts by the force to support the families of officers who paid the supreme price in active service.
There is no doubt that policing in a dynamic society like Nigeria is challenging and demanding. It requires courage, resilience, and dedication. Officers and men of the force are faced with all manner of dangers on a daily basis. They often put safety and even their lives on the line for the safety of others in the community where they serve. This event is to honor and fulfill the obligation to departed officers who lost their lives in the line of duty through the presentation of checks for Group Life Assurance, Group Personal Accident Insurance Scheme, the IGP Family Welfare Scheme, and Group Life Death Benefit Arrears.
We understand that no amount of compensation can replace the love and presence of your loved ones. But we hope that this gesture will provide some comfort and support.
IGP Kayode Egbetokun emphasized the commitment of the police force to ensure the welfare of police personnel and their families. He stated that these initiatives are part of the broader reforms being undertaken to improve the well-being of police officers, both active and retired, and to provide a safety net for their families.
The least we can do for the families they left behind is to support and care for them, assuring them that their loved ones' sacrifices will never be forgotten. We hope that these checks will provide some support as we face the challenges ahead. We also renew our commitment to the safety and well-being of the officers who continue to serve.
IGP Egbetokun is also reassuring the public of the force's commitment to ensuring a safer Nigeria. Francis from NTA News.
And still on the Nigerian police, it says it will not relent in combating all forms of criminality in the society. The Commissioner of Police, Lagos State, made this statement while parading suspects of various crimes in the dragnet of the security agency. Larry Belay reports.
Police Commissioner in Lagos, Olariwaju Ishola, hit the ground running upon assumption of office. This is evident in the massive arrest made just in 1 week of being at the helm of affairs. These are suspects undergoing interrogations on various crimes from kidnapping, armed robbery to drug possession. The police commissioner reminded everyone that he is determined to tackle crime in the metropolis head-on, and this arrest is a demonstration of his commitment.
You are to expect, as you have been getting, a better policing system in Lagos. And now, we are decided to make Lagos police people-friendly, in which case, we'll make people to trust us based on our performances, based on how we relate and attend to them. The slogan, police is your friend, is not just an acronym. We put it into practice.
The commissioner also stated that he is going to be in contact to have mutual agreement with sister agencies, road transport workers, the judiciary, as well as civil societies to weave a web of network in combating crime in the state. In Lagos, Larry Bilayi, NTA News.
Let's take another break. Please stay with us.
Season of Big Brother Naija is a must follow. Follow every twist and turn with eyes wide open. Because even when the journey begins with chemistry, chaos follows. Strap in for 2 journeys in one house. Big Brother Naija Season 9 premieres Sunday 28 July, 7 p.m. West African time on DSTV 198 and GoTV 49. Gold sponsor, Guinness. Black shines brightest.
The federal government of Nigeria.
All right, let's now take a look at the foreign scene. Amnesty International has called for the creation of a commission to investigate deaths from the use of unlawful police force in Kenya. The request by the human rights organization is coming 3 months after the mass anti-government protest. Charles Alpha has all the details.
The call came a day after bereaved mothers of protesters gathered outside the Department of Justice to present a list of those killed in the protests that lasted between June and August 2024. Rights groups say at least 61 persons were killed during weeks of protests, initially sparked by a finance bill proposing increased taxes. Kenya's Independent Medical Legal Unit, which investigates abuses, said on Wednesday that more than 67 people were victims of enforced disappearances in the days and weeks that followed, with 27 still missing.
Kenyan authorities must conduct prompt, thorough and independent investigations into all human rights violations committed in the context of the protests, including the killing of protesters, and hold those responsible fully accountable.
Amnesty's petition marks 3 months since the day protesters stormed the Parliament's building in Nairobi on June 25. Amnesty's report contains testimony from a protester who lost consciousness in the Parliament building and woke up in a dark room guarded by 2 men. He was interrogated on how the protests were funded. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Now let's talk sports. Badadele has been keeping tabs on matches in the Carabao Cup and UEFA Europa League, and would fill us in on the outcomes. Buddy, how did it go?
Many thanks, Yere. It does look like Europa League campaigners Manchester United will be waiting for Old Trafford to become New Trafford before they rediscover their scoring touch. But no problems for Liverpool and Arsenal in the Carabao Cup. All right, let's begin from home. Chief of Defence Staff, General Christopher Musa, has assured that Nigeria will deliver the best African military games in November. Military athletes from more than 40 African countries are set to compete from 17th to 30th November for the second edition of the military games. And the CDAs who received the inspection team of the Organization of Military Sports in Africa at the Defense Headquarters in Abuja revealed that Nigeria understands the innumerable benefits of hosting and will ensure all facilities and necessary logistics are put in place.
We know the importance of sports. Anywhere you have sports, you have unity. So I think for us, again, especially us in the military, we know the importance of good health and physical fitness, which are critical aspects of our work. So we will continue to work more so that we make sure that the facilities are made better, so that the sports, everybody will come to Nigeria and enjoy themselves. So let everybody know that you're coming to Nigeria, you're coming to visit your own family.
Now talking about football development, Nigeria Football Coaches Association maintains that refresher courses will keep instructors abreast of innovations in an ever-evolving sport which requires players and coaches to regularly update their knowledge base in laws, tactics, techniques and other areas of the round leather game.
We don't want the situation whereby one coach in Begolada will be doing the wrong thing, another one in the area will be doing another thing, then one coach in the territory will be doing the right thing. That is why we are always bringing even all the coaches within the area, all the 6 area councils down to the territory. Let's all of us sit down together, tell ourselves how things are done.
The game of football in service is dynamic, so many changes. So as the changes come up, then we keep updating our coaches with such changes. So it is a regular and continuous process that we have intended to carry on with.
All right, quite interesting. Let's quickly give you the results we got in the Europa League. The matches ended minutes ago. And the big one, Manchester United, they drew 1-0 with FC 20. Christian Eriksen got them the goal in the 35th minute, but they were pegged back in the 68th minute of that game. Another result, AZ Alkmaar won against Augsburg, and of course the match between Anderlecht and Ferencváros ended in favor of the home team. Galatasaray, that's Victor Osimhen, they recorded a 3-1 win over PAOK Thessalonica, and that's the former team of the Super Eagles captain William Troost-Ekong. The Dogorets, they lost at home to Slavia Praha. There's another Nigerian, while the match between Nice and Real Sociedad ended 1-1. All right, let's quickly update you when it comes to the Carabao Cup. as the draw for the 4th round of the English League Cup is currently being conducted following the conclusion of tonight's 3rd round matches. Injury hit Arsenal, who fielded a young team, had no issues dispatching Bolton Wanderers. And of course, that ended 5-1 also. And Liverpool, they had to come from a goal down to hand, West Ham United a 5-1 bashing. And of course, with that, West Ham United look to be very much in trouble. They've been, it's not been the best of starts for them since the beginning of the season. Let's hope their coach can still get some more time. All right, with that, remember again that the draw is underway. With that, we're done with Sports Update. Let's now return to Yaren.
Well, thanks, Bade, for the update. Quite interesting. All right, that's News Extra tonight. Well, thanks for investing your time with us. Do have a great night.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.